Alright, so I thought I would make an updated Zoicware guide, sort of like demo usage, and then at the end I'll just talk briefly on kind of how the script works for those that are curious. The last time I made a video, the script was a lot different, so this is definitely needed to clear up kind of how it's used now. Alright, so first of all, I'm just going to go over kind of how the GitHub is laid out. So this is kind of just like whatever. You can read like how to use. There's also some configs here. If you don't want to go through the options manually, you can just import a config. And then here we have update info, and you can skip to all the different versions, so the latest is always going to be at the bottom. You can read what's changed. If you want to read about basically, well, not basically, literally everything in the script is here. There could be some updating on the screenshots and stuff. But yeah, so you can skip through all this and read about it. That's also why I'm not going to explain absolutely everything in the script, just because it's already written out. If you really need to know, you can go read it. And then obviously join the Discord. Alright, so the how to download it, it's always going to be over here on the releases. And you're just going to click on the zip. So you can just extract this anywhere. Anywhere on the C drive is fine. You can just come in here and run the run Zoicware. If this comes up, just run anyway. The first time you run this, it will take a second because it's got to find where the script is located. But if you come in here and run it again, it'll be a lot faster. You can see. Alright, so we'll just start with the registry tweaks. In here, if you don't want to mess with any of this, just do import all tweaks. But if you see one that you don't want, you can remove it. And either one of these, I just have them separated. All of the Windows 10 tweaks are also applied to Windows 11. But if you're only using Windows 10, then only these will be applied. So we'll do import all tweaks. And that's just going to come up with a message box. And on 23H2, some Windows 11 versions, the Explorer takes a really long time to restart. This doesn't happen on 24H2 or Windows 10, but yeah, if it's black screen, I promise it'll come back. Alright, so now we'll remove scheduled tasks. This is going to do all of the scheduled tasks. It's going to loop through everything that it finds, and it's just going to display this sort of like makeshift loading bar. Alright, so next is group policy tweaks. In here we just have disable updates, defender, and telemetry. It's pretty self-explanatory. Disabling updates will cause like Xbox apps and like the store to break, so just keep that in mind. And then obviously disabling defender, you're not going to have an antivirus, but hopefully you won't need that. So we'll just do all of these. Alright, so next we'll do disable services. This only disables a few services, mainly Bluetooth printing, like fax, and just some like useless services. Do note this disables delivery optimization service, which can cause issues for like installing store apps. So yeah, and that's really quick. So we'll go to Debloat now. This is going to display all the Apex packages that you have installed. and then it's going to try to find a logo for the package, but not everything has a logo, and some of them are kind of like in a different location. So yeah, so here, if you don't want to mess with any of this, you can just use the presets, which um, should be good enough for basically everyone. I have literally like every combination you could think of. But if you really want to go through here and just manually remove the ones that you don't want, you could do that too. If you want to remove locked packages, which you can't normally do without some like back-end tricks, you can display them here. I don't really recommend removing any of these, but some of them are obviously stuff that you don't need, that you can get rid of without any issues. And by the way, not absolutely every Apex package is displayed here. Some are just you can't uninstall them no matter what, so those don't display here. And then some of them you shouldn't uninstall anyway, so they're also not displayed. And then obviously you can select like multiple of these and remove them. So we'll just do that. We can hit the remove Apex and it will display here, removing those. And then when that's done, this list will refresh. So there you go, it's refreshed. If you really wanted to, you could do check all and just try to remove all these. It should be able to remove most of these. There might be a couple it will error on, but like the Microsoft Edge. And then the Debloat extras is just some other things. So if you want to get rid of Edge, you have to do that in here. You can include the Edge web view, but web view is needed for a lot of apps now. So if you're not sure, just go ahead and leave it. It's not a big deal. And then obviously the rest of these. Clean start menu will just it will remove all of these and only leave File Explorer in settings, and then also Edge if you have that installed. So I'm just going to do Debloat all and go through that. Alright, so next is optional tweaks. And here it's really just preference. None of these are going to obviously boost FPS or whatever. But I have all these explained in the features on the GitHub. So if you really want to go look, you can read about it. I'm just gonna do like black theme. Um, yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll do like so for the context menu. That's obviously this. If you want to remove these things, like when you click on this, like if you wanted to remove print or like share stuff like that, it's all here. So yeah, we'll just do that. And then legacy WinStore, don't be surprised if this gets removed eventually. Because I don't think very many people use this, but yeah, so there's that. Alright, so then that next is the power plan. This is just my custom power plan. It's kind of a mixture of like Bitsum and sort of my own stuff. Stuff that I think they left out, honestly. So yeah, we'll just do that. And then here you can remove the other plans if you don't want Windows switching back. And then you can enable some hidden plans that are in Registry. So everyone knows about Ultimate Performance, but most people probably don't know about these two. they're mainly for laptops. It's not like they really do anything special, but I know most people don't know about these. So just to show that real quick. So here they are. Yeah. And then Windows 11 tweaks. I have a good bit in here. Some of these, so these two are going to be using Explorer Patcher, which honestly is kind of unreliable considering Windows is trying to like actively stop it. So yeah, if you want to use these, honestly, you can't really have Defender because it wants to like flag it as a virus, which is ridiculous. But anyways, so hide start menu recommended is gonna remove this text. So we'll do that. This one is good because Windows 11 doesn't automatically, like once I restart this will go away, and the icons will be here. But if you install a new app, it won't automatically show up there. You'd have to manually add it. So this will automatically add those when you install a new app. And then most of these are self-explanatory. If you want to get back like some of the Windows 10 apps, you can do that here. So we'll do the task manager and Notepad. Alright, so I've switched over to 24H2 because my other VM was kind of dying. It only had like 1 GB left on the C drive. But anyways, here's the Windows 10 task manager, and then I'll show Notepad quickly. You can see it's like Windows 10. So yeah, once you do that, probably restart after doing these. Even honestly, restart after doing like these ones before you do anything with the Windows 11 tweaks, just to make sure everything's applied, because some of these don't apply until you restart, or at least fully apply, you know. But yeah, so we'll go to post tweak setup. Assuming you don't have a network driver, this will try to install one for you that's included in the pack. If none of those work, or if you already have internet, it will just search Google for whatever adapter that you have, so that you can go ahead and update it. And then the packages, this is just going to install like DirectX, the C++ packages, and then if you don't have Net 3.5 yet, it will go ahead and do that as long as you have the flash drive installed. So I'll just go through that. Alright, so I've already installed a browser in here, but I'll just show Brave. You can install Brave, Firefox, or Chrome just to get you started. If there's something else you want to use, obviously you can install that. But yeah, if you uninstall Edge and you don't have like any browser, you're kind of out of luck. So there's that. Alright, so onto the Nvidia driver. This is a virtual machine, so it's not really going to work properly, but I can at least show you the options that you have. So here, this is just going to get all the latest Nvidia drivers. If there's These are the 4 newest, so if you want to go further back, you can just insert like whatever number that you want here. It's not going to install, but yeah, so strip driver is just going to remove everything except for the driver. So it's just the bare driver. So we'll do that. Alright, so yeah, we got some errors, but in here, it's not going to show digital vibrance, but normally there would be like your monitors listed here with a slider. So you can go ahead and change digital vibrance in here and not even have to open the control panel. Same thing in here, you can go ahead and do all the Nvidia control panel settings that will import sort of like an optimized profile. If you want to do the old sharpen, definitely recommend doing that. MSI mode it's already enabled, but if you just want to make sure, you can do that. And then idle states, I don't really recommend this unless you know why you need it. Basically, if you're extremely CPU bound and your GPU is not really boosting very much, you could do this to force GPU boost 3. But yeah, so we don't have anything there. And then we can go ahead and activate Windows. This will just install a generic Pro key, and then it will try a bunch of KMS servers. Since they're sort of unreliable, so it just tries a bunch of different ones. That will basically activate really any Windows install. And then Ultimate Cleanup, I recommend doing this once you've done everything, including like updates, install all your apps, your games, all that. This is all, well, not all, there's still some more in Registry, but they're not really useful. The hidden disk cleanup options, most of the time you have a lot less than this. But yeah, these are unhidden. So we can go ahead and check all of these. And then if you want to clear some extra stuff, temp cache is just because disk cleanup sometimes doesn't really like force remove the files. So there's that. And then Windows logs. This will clear up a lot of stuff on the C drive. So if you don't need any of the logs, you can go ahead and do that. This will also display the used space on your C drive before and after cleaning, so you can get an idea of about how much it cleaned up. And just keep in mind, disk cleanup has a bug that's never been fixed, where these windows sort of, even though they're done, they never close unless you hover your mouse over them. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so getting into some of these other things, restore tweaks, I just have a couple things in here. It would be a pain to have literally every tweak in here, but I'm usually adding more stuff in here slowly. I have most of the ones that you would want to revert, and also the repair Xbox apps is really useful if you have any issues. That will go ahead and check like all the dependencies and fix everything for you. Here you can export all the settings that you chose. So if we do export tweaks, we can choose the desktop, and that will just create a config of all the options that we ended up choosing, also with the whatever the day's date is. And then if you don't want to go through all those options, you can just go into here, and they may not be the most descriptive names because these are the function like parameters, but anyways, you can go and make your own like config and run that. So let's say that you made your config, and you can drag in the config in here, or you can go ahead and find it wherever, and you run the tweaks. That will go ahead and run all the ones that you have enabled in here. So if we just open this with Notepad, and that will go ahead and change the icon. So all these are just 0 or 1 to enable, and then there's a couple comments. Alright, so moving on to the other scripts button. This just installs any of the other projects that I've been making. So I have a couple in here. I'll just go ahead and show it. If you want to look at the code as well, it will download that, but you don't have to. So for example, like remove Windows AI, it will just create a shortcut to the actual GitHub. So if we were to run this, it would just go ahead and run the code from the GitHub. But Service Manager Plus does actually need the code. But yeah, that's how that looks. And I didn't go over run tweaks in order, but it's just going to go through all these in order. If you didn't want to always have to go back to this menu and choose which one, you can just go ahead and it will go through all of these. Alright, so I'm just going to go over somewhat briefly about how Zoicware kind of works. Basically, the source code in the GitHub is really just all the PowerShell scripts. I also have the Registry Tweaks files in here, but if you notice, the zip has a lot more stuff in here. These are basically just all the files and dependencies that Zoicware needs to actually work. I couldn't really include all this in GitHub because it's pretty big, and some of these just aren't really useful for GitHub since you can't really inspect them, and there's not really any code like for pictures and stuff. But basically, this exe is really just a batch file, and that batch file is already on GitHub. You can see it's actually PowerShell code in a batch file. So all this top line is doing is running this code but in PowerShell. That's because, well, PowerShell is better than batch, but by default Windows doesn't allow PowerShell scripts to be ran like just normally. You'd have to enable the execution policy. And so I wanted to keep this as an exe, that way I can set the logo and all that, but it needs to be batch so that it can actually work on 24H2, because there's a bug with converting PowerShell to exe on 24H2, and so this is actually just made with a built-in Windows tool called iExpress. You can see it's called a Win32 extractor, and this extracts the batch file to a temp directory, well, the temp directory, and just runs the batch file from there. And in here, all we're doing is we're enabling the PowerShell scripts to run, and then we're creating a basically like a file searching algorithm here that also caches the location in your user profile. So this will basically allow it to open instantly after the first run. But all this is doing is ensuring that it finds the actual main script, Zoicware PS1. So this is really just the launcher. And then once it runs the PS1, this is going to load in a lot of different modules. So it's going to load in the functions module. This has most of Zoicware in it, most of the functions and stuff that it does. But that also does use some of these other files. The WinFetch module displays your system information and like the little logo that comes up. And then there's also a transparent like thing in there, and this burnt toast module is for displaying the toast notifications when you install the packages. So yeah, that's basically it. One small thing I think I should note is how it keeps track of which version that you're using, and if it's the latest version. In here you'll notice a file with the version name. This should correspond to the version that's in the PowerShell file that's declared. I'll show quickly here. It's declared here. if you have internet, it will go ahead and check the releases to make sure that that is also matching the correct version number. But if you don't have internet, it won't check for the latest version. So the only thing it's going to check for is if this version in the script is matching the one in this folder. So if you have other versions of Zoicware on your C drive, it could potentially find that older version, or if the cache directory is somewhere else, it may also find that. So just keep that in mind.